Join us today on our journey through the past, the present, and the future of Colorado Springs' favorite tradition, the Colorado Balloon Classic. Be sure to make it out to Memorial Park this Labor Day weekend to be a part of this great tradition that makes this city and its people so spectacular. It's time for the 35th Annual Colorado Balloon Classic.
Welcome to the Colorado Balloon Classic. This year marks a really special event for us. We're celebrating 35 years of a hot air balloon festival in beautiful downtown Colorado Springs. We have a lot of things going on as usual this year, but a few things are very special. For one, we're dedicating our event this year to Dr. Carol Reimer Davis. Carol flew with us many years, but she is known worldwide for her gas balloon records and her hot air balloon world records. She's also known in our community as Heather's mother, and Heather's our event organizer. But Heather wouldn't be able to tell you this, but I hope I can tell her story for you. Carol disappeared, along with Richard Abruzzo, September 29th, over the sea, off of the coast of Italy, as she was trying to set another world record to bring the Gordon Bennett race back to the United States. Our event's dedicated to Carol and all that she stands for. In her honor, we're having a lot of things, including a party this year. Our party is going to be a celebration of 35 years. It's going to be at Stargazers Theater. So I'd like to invite you to come inside and see our party. Be part of it tonight with us. We have the most incredible band. Of course, it's my favorite band, the Legend Band, performing tonight. We also have a huge balloon photography show going on at the same time. And we have some world-renowned photographers showing their art, and it's all for sale. It will be shown all the month of August and most of the month of September. So if you missed the party tonight, you can still come over to Stargazers and check out the photography that's for sale. These people are excited. They love the Balloon Classic. They love Colorado Springs as much as I do. So come on in. Just a few of my closest friends are here.
Hello, I am Patsy.
Hello, welcome to the party. Thanks for coming out to Stargazers Theater in Colorado Springs tonight. We're having a party. Make some noise. Well, in case you're wondering why we're having a party, we're celebrating 35 years, all of it here in Colorado Springs. So that's a reason to have a party. So thanks for being here. Let's get the music started. Let's get this party started. People often ask me what's my favorite thing about the Balloon Classic, and as with most people, I think I have a lot of favorites, but one of them is watching the children. There are so many generations that come up there year after year, and we're proud that our event is part of the tradition of Colorado Springs, and we're proud to also be one of the top 100 events in North America according to the American Bus Association. We're very proud and honored that we can call Colorado Springs the home of the Balloon Classic. We have a great foundation here with the support that we get from all the local community, the local businesses. And it's great that we can bring national tours and outside businesses into Colorado Springs and help our economy here. We're fortunate that the Convention and Visitors Bureau really believes in us. They nominate us for awards after awards, which brings national attention not only to our event, but to our city as well. We have a lot of tradition at the Balloon Classic, and this year is no exception. We'll be having our photo contest, so be sure to enter. It's sponsored by Beyond the Budget again this year. Photo contest forms are easily available at the event. They're also easily available online at balloonclassic.com. And we do have a deadline for it, so make sure you check it out. There'll be some great prizes. The grand prize being a flight for 2 people, weather permitting, and next year's balloon event. So make sure you enter. Your photography, if it wins, will also be featured in next year's Balloon Classic program. So check out our photo contest at balloonclassic.com. We only have 2 special shapes this year, but they're very special. They say when pigs fly. Yeah, we have Hamlet coming back again this year. When pigs fly, Hamlet the pig will be flying all 3 mornings, at least he's scheduled to. And we have a new special shape this year. His name is Squawk, and he's a parrot head, and I'm sure you'll see him. So look out for Squawk. You might want to make some noise when you see him take off, because Squawk will be flying all 3 mornings as well this year at the Balloon Classic. We have a full schedule again for this year's Balloon Classic. Not only are we launching 62 balloons all 3 mornings, you can purchase a balloon ride at the event any day that we have an opening, or you can purchase in advance at it through Adventures Out West, or simply by calling our office at 719-471-4833. With a backdrop of Prospect Lake and Pikes Peak, what could be more beautiful than checking off your bucket list here at the Balloon Classic? But some of our most popular events are the glows. We're scheduled to have a Saturday night glow and a Sunday night glow. Again, all of it in Memorial Park. There's something magic about watching those balloons just stand up, and it's been described to me as it looks like a big Christmas tree that's laying down. But it's really special for all those people who don't want to get up in the morning. So remember the balloon glows, Saturday and Sunday night. At times people are surprised to realize there's only 2 of us that are staff at the Balloon Classic, but we have about 20 people on our leadership team that work all year round to make this event happen. We have about 450 to 500 just people crewing on the balloons, and we have probably another 100 or so volunteers that are helping with everything from parking to selling our merchandise. If you want to be a volunteer, there's lots of ways, lots of things you can do. We hope you'll join us. You can volunteer by going to our website, balloonclassic.com, click on Participate. You'll be amazed at how much help we need and what you may just love to do. There are a few perks for you when you volunteer, so check it out, all written out for you on our website. So come be part of the Balloon Classic and volunteer. We are the largest hot air balloon event in the state. We're also the largest air show in the state. We're also the longest continuously running balloon event in the state. And we're again ranked as one of the top 100 special events in North America. We couldn't do that without the help of so many, so thank you pilots, thank you sponsors, thank you volunteers, thank you everyone who helps make our dreams come true. I would love to tell you a little history about the event. As I've mentioned, this is our 35th year, but I bet you don't know this because not many people do. In the 35 years, we've had 699 different pilots registered to fly with us. That's a lot of pilots. I haven't counted up how many flights they've taken, but I do know there's only been one pilot who's attended all 35 years, and that's Mr. Dewey Reinhardt. Dewey was one of the first pilots that flew here in Colorado. Matter of fact, he is part of aviation history for a lot of reasons in a lot of ways. Dewey and Jack Vaith were asked to start the Balloon Classic, actually in conjunction with the Pikes Peak Hill Climb. And the first year they flew, they launched from what used to be the Black Forest Glider Park. It's not out there anymore, it's a different location. But their goal was to reach the top of Pikes Peak, maybe before the cars did that were racing up. Dewey can tell you a lot more about those years, but I can tell you that after 1 year of racing to the top of Pikes Peak, we decided maybe we should have it in Memorial Park and stay a little closer to the lake.
I'd always dreamed of being a pilot when I was a little kid. So I built model airplanes, and so it was just a natural happening. My wife, Jeannie, of 60 years, I might add, we've been flying buddies. She had soloed in all different aircraft we had owned. I guess probably the largest undertaking we ever did with a balloon was when I tried to be the first to fly a free balloon across the Atlantic Ocean back in 1977.
In the fall of 1977, 2 groups of balloonists will make separate challenges of the Atlantic. From Colorado Springs, Dewey Reinhardt, 47, a businessman, heads one team. He's a veteran pilot with 4 years ballooning experience.
Looking back, it was sort of a foolish approach, but I'd been committed to do this since reading in a 1955 issue of National Geographic about some Englishmen who tried to fly the Atlantic. It's just stuck in my mind. I wasn't even a balloonist when I read that article, and then when I started flying hot air balloons, a couple of guys were trying it and didn't make it, and I just told Jeannie, I said, we're gonna do this. I think it's doable. So it became almost an obsession with me, and we studied every attempt. I visited every balloon manufacturer in the country to try to select the best for building the envelope, and so we were off, and we had communications problems. The radios were long-range radios. Could talk around the world before we took off. We couldn't talk across the street unless we got in the air, so we were having to do all of our communicating through the airlines and through ships on the
By the next morning, as they brood about the communications brownout, navigation problems, and the difficulty with the balloon, the weather picture grows ever more ominous. A storm front rushes toward their location south of Nova Scotia.
The balloon has landed.
Yes.
Both crew members are safe.
Yes.
When we went down in a bad storm, and we were very lucky on that flight. And so we were putting together another attempt, and had actually ordered another balloon. And when Maxie and Ben from Albuquerque made it across, and so that was the end of the project. CBS was no longer interested in the flight at all. Well, even though we were not successful in making it to Europe, we were the experience of just doing it involving the people, volunteers, family, friends, people up in Maine, the Coast Guard that picked us up. It's an experience that I'll never forget, as far as I'm concerned. The first Balloon Classic was an idea born by Jack Baith, who was the director of the Pikes Peak Auto Hill Climb, and it was not. It really wasn't anything to do with the balloons at all. It was going to be a method for increasing the attendance to the hill climb. So he suggested I get a bunch of balloon pilots together, and he would come up with a nice prize for having a contest flying balloons over Pikes Peak. We attempted this flight over the peak, and it was just almost total disaster. The winds up there were really squirrely. The minute the sun hits that granite, the winds start boiling around, and it's very, very unpredictable. So it was just a disastrous experience. The chase crews were frustrated. They couldn't find the balloons in the trees, and we had guys in the reservoir, and that was the first, last, and only Pikes Peak balloon race. They said, if you move that event down to Memorial Park and change the date to Labor Day weekend to help extend the tourist season, we'll give you $5,000 seed money. Well, we needed the money. So that was the actual, the year after that Pikes Peak race was the actual birth of the Colorado Springs Balloon Classic. It was, there's no surprise for me to see how large the event got. It's been gratifying to see that it's still there, because a lot of these events have gone away. While it's not quite as large as it used to be, big isn't everything, but the basic parameters, free entertainment to the public, is still there, and that's a very important criteria for me. And it's still going. It's still a great event. I still fly in it every year, and I hope to be flying in it many years to come. Everybody's happy out there. It's a really docile, easygoing crowd. The future of ballooning right now is looking a little bit dim. We just attended the Balloon Federation of America convention back in Des Moines about 6 weeks ago, and our membership in Balloon Federation is down. It's almost 50%. There are still a few young people involved in it, but it's not. When our membership is declining, that's not a good indicator that things are going to be great a couple of years from now. I think maybe the local club activities would probably be the answer in trying to get the thing reestablished and get young people interested again.
My name is Dave Bear, and we've been flying hot air balloons for a long time. I had my first ride in 1976, and I've been a pilot since 1989. I grew up in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and that's the home of the largest balloon festival in the world. And so my family has been involved in ballooning for a very long time. Well, I got interested in ballooning as a kid. I had an early flight when I was very young and was just always fascinated with flying. I have flown balloons for a long time. I've flown airplanes, but balloons are more interesting to me. We follow the wind wherever it goes, and it really presents a challenge to stay on top of the balloon and be ready for anything, but still stay relaxed and have a good time. The Balloon Classic in Colorado Springs has been around a long time, and the very first time I flew in it was in 1990, and we had just heard it advertised word of mouth with several other balloonists and friends, and we were invited up here and just had a fantastic time. And so we fly in the Colorado Balloon Classic whenever we can. The thing that I like about it the most is the launch site. We fly right downtown in Colorado Springs out of Memorial Park, and it's very common that as we leave the park we actually get over the lake and we get some spectacular pictures, and every now and then when the weather's just right we're able to dip the basket down in the water, and that's just the most fun ever. The sport overall is declining primarily because the folks that got interested in it in the 80s and 90s when it was really popular, that whole generation is aging, and quite frankly, some people are just aging out of the sport. In addition, the cost of ballooning has gone up significantly, and so sometimes we have a hard time recruiting new students.
When you're at the peak is when you burn. Most folks, what they'll do is they're learning is they'll come off of the peak, they'll start the descent, and then they'll burn, and that's what creates the oscillations.
I started to teach several years ago, and what I found was that as I taught students, I got better at flying myself, and so it is an effort to stay on top of my own skills, to improve, as well as just to kind of spread the wealth and share the sport. And I just really enjoy teaching. I enjoy watching students learn, and hopefully we'll get a few new pilots out of the deal.
So I'm going to drop the balloon pretty quickly. We're going to go down about 800 or 900 feet a minute.
Okay.
We're flying heavy on a warm day.
Well, Kimberly has been around in the ballooning community for some time. She's active in the local balloon club, and she's been studying to fly for quite a while. And she got interested in ballooning a lot like most people. You kind of see it, you get involved, you go out with a friend, and it just starts to take over your life as you become more and more interested in it. And learning to be a pilot is just the next logical step for her.
My name is Kimberly Barnett. I've actually been crewing for almost 7 years now. One of my friends called one weekend and said, hey, you want to go over to Las Cruces down in New Mexico and chase hot air balloons? I said, sure, why not? Didn't have anything else better to do. And then eventually, I think it was last year, I decided to go on ahead and start working on my license. Felt I had more experience than I did when I started. So I had some ground crew experience with different balloons, different types of pilots. And so I felt I was ready to go on ahead and start pursuing my actual pilot license. You get to see your family, you get to get up early, you get to go play with hot air, and then you get to get up in the air and it's so calm and so peaceful. I mean, even with the burner going, it's a totally different world up there that a lot of people never get to see and experience. So the process that I'm actually going through, I'm learning with David, is a lot different than the ones that I've seen prior, because everybody teaches differently, everybody learns differently, and if you're learning on different balloons, it's a different experience. With the process that I'm going through, I actually want to crew with about 5 or 6 different pilots up here in Colorado alone. or learn from them, take instruction from them, because they all have different types of balloons. They all do things differently. And it's one of those processes you go through, you learn how they do things, and you get to pick their brain as to why they do things. That's the big thing, is you gotta figure out why things are done that way. If you get the chance, you gotta go open a balloon. It doesn't matter if you do it voluntarily or if somebody kidnaps you and says, okay, we're gonna go do this, and you have no idea what it is. It is a lot of fun, and it is totally a different experience for somebody, for people who have never done it before. I mean, even coming out and just crewing is a great experience.
We first got interested in VWs through our daughter. She was a typical kid doing the slug bug game and just never grew out of it. When she got to about the age where she was getting ready to drive, we asked her what she wanted, and she said she wanted to restore an old VW. So at the age of 14, she bought her first VW, a 1974 Super Beetle, found it in a barn, and she spent the next 2 years restoring it. My wife and I got into it. Now we have 4 VWs. They're fun to work on. They're easy to work on. They're inexpensive to work on. Everybody recognizes them. They turn heads everywhere you go. They're just a fun little car, and they've really become an American icon. The VW Club started with just a handful of guys. They all worked in the same building. They drove the car. They got together one day and said, "Hey, let's start a club." And it kind of grew from there. We found out about it just through word of mouth, joined ourselves. That was 6-7 years ago. There was probably 20 people in the club, and now there's probably hundreds of people we have online that enjoy our forum and enjoy the cars, buy, sell parts and cars and whatnot. We're into preservation, restoring, and mostly driving our old air-cooled VWs. We do a lot of gatherings and cruises and whatnot. We do a parade. We're in the St. Patrick's Day Parade every year. The last 2 years we won Best Car Club. We do charity events, toy runs, food drives and whatnot. But mostly we just like hanging out, driving our cars and talking about our cars. We started doing the Balloon Classic in 2007. We are here on Saturday afternoon about 3 or 4 o'clock. We show up. We do, and we're here till the balloon glow. It's every year when we pull in with all our cars in a procession, and just seeing everyone watching us pull in, it's such a rush, just watching everyone's face light up, seeing these old cars. It's really fun. The organizers of the Balloon Classic, they set up a really highly visible spot for us to park our cars, and we just do a car show of sorts. And it's a lot of fun watching all the people come through. I think they enjoy seeing our cars about almost as much as the balloons, because most everybody has a childhood story or familiarity with them. They become such an icon in the States. So we have a really good time just showing off our cars. My favorite part of the Balloon Classic is the morning liftoffs. That's where the pilots get in the balloons. They lift off. They go over the trees. And then they descend. They try to touch down into Prospect Lake. There's thousands of people around the edge of the lake, and everyone cheers when somebody touches down. And occasionally, if somebody just drags their basket along the water, everyone's standing up, giving them a big ovation. That's probably the best part of the classic for me. It's just great, and for that to be a free event that brings the whole community like that together. I mean, thousands of people come down. It's just a really great time.
My name is Doug Gann. I'm a hot air balloon pilot, and I live here in Denver, Colorado. And I've been involved in ballooning for over 20 years now, and I got my first start in Orlando, Florida. It's not something I grew up and wanted to do. I didn't have anyone else in my family who was involved in aviation, but where I was living, balloons would actually launch out of the field next to my apartment complex and take off and fly. And that got me first interested in hot air ballooning. Eventually I moved just north of Orlando to a city called DeLand, Florida. And at DeLand, 6 months after we moved there, they had the first balloon rally. And got on the field, met lots of pilots, took lots of pictures, and I was hooked. It was something that I had to do. You know, it's interesting. In all my years of ballooning, we've developed lots of memories of great balloon flights. And people always ask me all the time what it's like to fly in a hot air balloon. And I tell them it's probably one, the closest thing to being a cloud, and two, it'll be the thrill of a lifetime for you. And that's exactly the way it was for me on my first balloon flight as a passenger. I'll never forget it. Obviously, I got hooked and I'm in it today, but I've developed lots of other wonderful memories since then. I'm asked all the time how we came up with the idea for When Pigs Fly. And surprisingly, it was a phrase that I grew up with. It was my dad's favorite saying when I was a kid growing up. Anytime I wanted something like a new bicycle or a baseball glove or something like that, Dad would always say, "Oh yeah, sure kid, when pigs fly." Well, needless to say, I never got the bike and I never got the baseball glove. But lo and behold, many years ago, the idea just kind of festered with me, and my son traveled with me one summer. And he's the one who's actually responsible for designing the balloon. And the concept and the drawing that you see is exactly what he drew. And Hamlet is the world's largest flying pig. And Hamlet stands about 120 feet tall, he's 60 feet wide, and he's 80 feet long from snout to tail. And trust me, that's a lot of ham to get heated up and to fly. Flying in a hot air balloon is very magical and mystical, and each flight is unique and different. For instance, we can go out to the same field 7 days in a row, and we'll take off and we'll go 7 different directions and have 7 different flights, no matter the conditions. And doing this in a special shaped balloon is even more memorable, if not so much for the flight, but for the crowd reaction. To look at the people on the ground and see them smile and laugh and giggle and point at the balloon is truly a real treat to me as a pilot. The Colorado Balloon Classic is one of the premier balloon events across the country, and I first attended in 2001. And one of the things I really look forward each year when I come back to attendance is, one is the flying. It's just great flying areas. 2 is the camaraderie of all the pilots and the crew. And 3rd is the volunteers and all the sponsors that make this event possible. And I have to tell you that flying in Colorado Springs, getting 2,000 to 3,000 feet above ground level, and being able to see Pikes Peak in the distance is a sight you will never forget.
I would encourage you, get up early, bundle up the kids, and come on out and watch the sunrise and watch the balloons inflate. It's a memorable time, and once someone has done it once, they continue to come back again and again.
It's worth getting up for in the morning. There's nothing else like it you'll see in your life.
And it's a really fun event. It's really family oriented. There's lots of stuff to do for the kids. There's lots of stuff to do for the adults.
It's like a carnival atmosphere. There's rides, there's games for the kids, there's carnival type food.
It's free. You can't beat the price, and I'll guarantee you a really good time.
Just a reminder, our event is Labor Day weekend. The hot air balloon part is. It's Memorial Park in downtown Colorado Springs. The dates are September 3rd, 4th, and 5th. And as always, the event is free to the public. We have no admission for our event. So we hope you'll join us.